Yo, this is your boy Bun B, Rebel UGK for life, and you're watching Montreal already. It was funny because I was like a smart student, but then I was also the class clown. So like I would hurry up and like do my work in the class, and then I would like give my friends like the answers to everything so we could like clown for the rest of the class period, you know. So there was always a lot of that kind of stuff, you know. But I was a good student, I was attentive, you know what I'm saying? I liked school. I don't know why kids don't like school nowadays. I like school. I like hanging out with my friends at school, you know what I'm saying? So I was a good student. I wanted to be at school, you know. I probably cut class a couple of times or whatever, but for the most part, man, I enjoyed school, you know. It was a good experience for me. I'm sure it's probably not the same for everybody, you know. My mom was like a private nurse. Well, we wouldn't say private nurse. She would do like home care for people, you know what I'm saying? So I would like do overnight to make sure like their machines didn't cut off on them while they were asleep or whatever like that. And just make sure that people kind of made it through the night or whatever. And so that used to be like $50 a night. We used to sell candy. Like we would go to like the surplus, like the big store or whatever. Like, you know, we call it Sam's Club in Houston. We'd go to Sam's and buy like a bunch of candy and then bring it to school and like hold it until like after lunch, like 6 or 7 period, like at the end of the day, and then like just hit the hallway with it like the last 2 periods of class. And we bought a lot of Pimp C and I, we bought a lot of equipment that a lot of our earlier equipment was based on the candy that we sold at school. And then, you know, I used to cut yards, like, I would, get a lawnmower and a gas can and just like walk the neighborhood and see if people wanted their yard cut, you know. My first big check was not that big a check at all. It didn't last a month, actually. I mean, I was 18 years old. I got a lot of money. And first thing I did was I went to the club and bought a bunch of champagne and forgot to invite people to come and drink the champagne. So then I ended up spending like the rest of the night trying to basically give my champagne away because I couldn't drink it by myself. Oh, in a previous lifetime, wow. What do I think I was? Obviously, I wasn't lucky because I died. But I don't know. I would think maybe a preacher. My favorite cartoon character of all time, man, probably Cartman from South Park. Because, I mean, Cartman says what a lot of people think, but they're scared to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cartman says what you would say if there was no repercussions for saying how you felt.
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anybody. Fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck, fuck.
How would you like to go see the school counselor?
How would you like to suck my balls?
Probably Gallagher. Me and my DJ Domination were just, talking about that game the other day. He was playing that game, and we were talking about how expensive it is for kids to have fun nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about how we would go to the arcade when we were young with with $1. And you stay in the arcade all day. You were good at the game and sit there on a quarter and play a game for 20, 30 minutes, at a time. That's what we used to do. And we take whatever spare change we could find, go to the arcade, get quarters, and sit there and just play video games all day, But I guess kids get to do that at home now.
An Xbox costs a lot more than a quarter, I can tell you that. What is the biggest lie ever told in the world? Probably the phrase, "you can't."
True definition of a G is somebody that's not scared to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. What's the use in having power if you can't do something good with it? I guess my biggest personal contribution to hip hop would probably be my verse, the verse from Murder, because it was probably one of the first times where a Southern artist was able to just, do a song that was just purely about just lyrical ability. Like, the whole point of me writing that verse the way it was written was to show the world my lyrical ability. A lot of the music that we did before was a lot slower bass, you know what I'm saying? The BPM was a lot slower, so it didn't really allow me a lot of opportunities to just kind of go in lyrically. So, you know, for years I was asking Pimp C, just give me one song so I could show him. Because he was the main one bragging on how good I could rap, but I didn't have a lot of songs where I'd shown, you know, how good I could rap. So Murder was the one, and I think that influenced a lot of up-and-coming artists like the T.I.s, the Killer Mikes, and the Ludacris's of the world, that you don't have to sacrifice your southernness to show you're a lyricist. In the early days of hip-hop, definitely, you know, people like Willie D and people like Scarface and definitely Too Short were guys that, you know, went out of their way to try to get me, especially Too Short. He would really go out of his way to give us game and keep us encouraged about making music, about performing music, about dealing with life in between the music. And, you know, we became very good friends over the years, and UGK probably wouldn't have even made it this far if it wouldn't have been for people like Too Short, you know, keeping us encouraged about the game, even through the bullshit. Well, Big Crit, I guess, in Big Crit's sense, he got the Bun B stamp of approval because he was so studied about, you know, Southern hip hop heritage, and he was very concerned about wanting to be a contributor to that. You know, he was not just a kid that wanted to put a record out. Like, he wanted to be a major contributor, and he'd understood what people have already done, and he was just trying to figure out, you know, what it is that he would do, you know, to give back to a culture that he feels gave him so much. And he's a very humble kid to be so talented, and he's not scared to speak the truth, and I think that's very important in hip-hop. We got a lot of people that just lie because they feel like, I mean, they don't even have a real good reason to lie. They're just making up shit because they think that's what they're supposed to do, because they think everybody else is lying. So it's refreshing when somebody like him comes in the game with that level of truth. With Drake, it was a little bit different. It was like nobody was really sure what it was going to be, you know what I'm saying? But it was very interesting, like his approach, his cadence, you know, just coming from a different surrounding, coming from a different world, really. You know, it allowed him the opportunity to just kind of do it without being, I guess, held back by a lot of the things that a normal American rapper would be held back by, based on your region, your proximity to certain things or whatever. And it was just a fresh outlook on music, on life. You know, he's very introspective and he's very retrospective, and I think he brings a very unique viewpoint of someone just, you know, trying to live his life, and in the course of that happening, life totally changed, and how he's trying to deal with it, and how we all try to deal with the sudden changes that happen in life, you know. I met 50 Cent through Tone. There was a production team called Tone and Poke back in the day. They did a lot of crazy records, and Tone had an artist deal, and 50 was his artist. And he asked me if I would be interested in working with him, and I went up there, and this was a different 50 Cent, like, that people know nowadays. You know, 50 used to be kind of like chubby, I guess is the word for it. But personality, I mean, the dude I met back then is the exact same dude that you see now, as far as his mentality and like what he's going to do as far as being successful and all of that. He was just adamant about what he was going to do with the game if they ever gave him a shot. It's funny, I heard almost the same words come out of 50 Cent's mouth in his earliest days and Master P in his earliest days. So it doesn't really surprise me that those two dudes ended up being two of the richest hip-hop artists ever. If there is anything upcoming as far as Pimp C is concerned, I wouldn't know. I don't control any of the music. I don't have the music. His wife controls his estate, so she has all the music and all of that. So I know she was working on something with Juicy J. That project is still going to come out. I'm definitely going to be a part of that project, or any Pimp C project that comes out. I support the wife and the estate 100%. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff left. How much, I don't know, personally. Because he did so much recording, so many different people, and there's still people coming out the woodworks with music, you know. So there's definitely going to be some more stuff coming. I can't say how much though. Well, I mean, to be able to have 20 years of achievement, regardless of what you do. Or what, is something to be admired and something to be honored. I think Outkast musically are, one of the best groups ever to record music. I mean, these guys won album of the year with a hip-hop album. They've contributed so much to the culture, not just musically, but even when Andre was would come out and dress different, it was really not about other people dressing like that, but about people not being afraid to express themselves, and to still be appreciated 20 years later is amazing to see. I'm so happy that they're in a position now to come back and share what we love with the world, share it with us again. And God bless them for giving that back to us, man. We've been wanting to see some Outkast shows for a long time. I've known these guys for a long time. I'm one of the few people that's gotten an Outkast song, not to mention a video done. And it's just so much that we can learn from Andre and Big Boi. And I'm glad that they're, in a position to share that with us again. The most romantic thing I've done for my wife, man, I'm pretty good. I can't front. I'm pretty good. Probably, I told her that we got invited to a Lil Wayne show in Dallas. What she didn't know is that I had bought a suite and flew her whole family down. So I told her that we were going into the Cash Money suite. I'm like, look, this Cash Money family or whatever, so we probably not gonna know these people. So she was like, okay, that's fine, I don't care. Then opened up the door and the whole family was there in the suite, and it was very hard to surprise my wife because my wife is very, I guess for lack of a better term, very nosy. So, my wife is, her eyes are always on me, so it's hard to sneak away and do stuff and surprise her and stuff like that. So this was the one time that I actually got to pull something off, and I pulled it off on such a major scale because I brought in people from different, it wasn't just people from where we live from, but her sister from Austin as well. I had everybody in the suite and just blew her away. My last meal would depend on where I'm gonna die. If I was to die in Montreal, poutine. To be honest, I don't think I've written the realest shit I'm ever gonna say. So I think you have to stay tuned. We have to do another interview for that. I think the number one trap, the number one thing that I think, most of the young artists lose is that they think they're smarter than the record company, and you're not. You know what I'm saying? You're really not. I don't care who your lawyer is or whatever. It's not about beating them. It's about putting yourself in the best position possible at all times. Because the game is designed to shut you down. You know what I'm saying? And record companies, they've been doing this for a long time. They know exactly what they're doing. So you have to constantly be in a state of preparedness and also not be afraid to continue to try to educate yourself. Don't ever think that because you've sold X amount of records or you've made X amount of money that there isn't things to be learned. There's new music laws being passed every year, things that directly affect us as artists. So it's important that we educate ourselves, There's a lot of good music unions out there to be a part of. I suggest if you're a recording artist, you get out there and be a part of these unions and take advantage of the opportunities that come from being a member of these different things. Go to the Grammy meetings, that kind of thing is important. We always worry why we're not represented on a certain level in the Grammys because there's so many of us that rap and none of us take part in any of the Grammy situations. Every state has a Grammy committee. They have meetings every year and very few people take advantage of that, and then they wonder why they get excluded from things. So we have to learn how to use our power. We have to learn how to come together as a unit. Stay alive. Don't kill. For Montreality.com. Thank you, boss.
When you think you made it, that's when you gotta work harder than you ever worked. You gotta do more than you ever did. You gotta stay there.